The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Scout 6316, 8.8 for 6,000.
Yeah, 6316, North Approach, so maintain 3,000, I'm 1 for the right.
3,000, Scout 6316.
Redwood 811, so maintain 4,000. Airport open to Fox 1.
We take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again. We take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again.
6 Roman Carefly, runway heading, runway 5. Just take off.
Check!
And we are ready for takeoff. Sit back, relax. It's time to travel with Cosmic Passport. Spaced Out Weekend presents Elizabeth Anglin's Cosmic Passport, a 1-hour warm-up of news, stories, thoughts, and ideas to captivate your mind. You can follow us at spacedoutradio.com.
Now 20 years have passed us by, and we look back and count the time. Burning like the summer sun, when the world was young. Sideways staring from the ground, and 7 trumpets wait to sound.
And now, here's Our Lady of Flight, Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth England, and welcome to Cosmic Passport. Okay, maybe I'm not. Elizabeth is here. Aren't you, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know anymore.
I don't know anymore.
I've lost some estrogen. And my voice has deepened, and I'm a little bit afraid of myself. Hi, James.
I put that under the heading of too much information. Welcome, everybody.
I know, TMI, right off the bat.
This is a combined Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin and Spaced Out Weekend. And I want to thank you for beaming in to us here on the 13th floor of the Spaced Out Radio Network down in the paranormal portals of Cascadia out here in the Pacific Northwest and our little log cabin quietly. And thanks for listening to us on spacedoutradio.com, on Spreaker, the High Plains Talk Radio Network, and coming soon, WQEE 99 Rock the Key in the greater Atlanta area. And we also want to give out some big hugs to the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM in New Orleans and their listener from over 160 countries around the world. We welcome you, all of you, to tonight's show, and it's one of those special ones. And again, we do broadcast 7 nights a week from 9 p.m. till midnight Pacific, and really, really early in the morning if you're in Europe or in the eastern seaboard of North America. And good afternoon and happy tomorrow to our listener out in, New Zealand, Australia, the Philippines, and my favorite little spot in the Pacific until it goes underwater, Fiji. We'd like to thank Ron Bumblefoot Thal of Art of Anarchy. You probably knew him from Guns N' Roses for a few years, like about 10. He's the man behind the official sound of Spaced Out Radio. And you can follow me on Twitter at James Tyson SOR. Give our Facebook pages a like, Spaced Out Radio Show and Spaced Out Weekend. Come see me on Instagram at Spaced Out Weekend. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, Spaced Out Radio Show, and find us on iTunes, Intune, and download our shows from those websites as well as YouTube. And I'm going to continue on with the rest of this probably in another half hour. I'll add a few of these little commercially kind of things in because we want to get right to it. Now, it wasn't that long ago that our good friend Joanna the Medium came on and found that she could actually communicate with an extraterrestrial guide that came in, probably about 6 months ago now. And it's a fellow she calls Rob, and he's a good he's a listener to Space Out Weekend, a good friend of the show's. And she's been getting information through Rob, not just about Uncle John who lost his keys down the couch, but we're getting information about things that are a little more out there. We started getting information on Bigfoot and other alien activity, multi-dimensional light beings and such through Joanna from Rob. So Elizabeth and I plan to sit down with Rob over a beer and talk about some of those questions that have always come up in paranormal, or in the vast paranormal. Do Bigfoot exist? If so, what is it? Dogman, Area 51, all sorts of questions. So we had a 3-hour show on that. And then we followed that up with another couple of hours where Elizabeth and I and you got down and put another list of follow-up questions together. And if you didn't hear the original show with Joanna and getting the name of Bigfoot, which is an Ekko, and is a being that is brought here by a group of more advanced beings called the Travelers to mate with large mammals on Earth in the mountainous area and kind of the bush area of the planet. You missed a lot, and I need you to realize that we did ask a lot of questions. And one of the other things I'd like to tell you guys, we've already had a number of opportunities for people to ask questions. If we end up going through all of ours, which I doubt, by the end of the show, we may take questions from the chat rooms. That's on Spreaker, on Facebook, and any of the other groups that are listening to us right now. Twitter also. Now, we won't go in there looking for your questions because I tell you, we have 3 hours to go through these, and a lot of these, we have more questions than you could shake a alien at. It's amazing, the follow-up that came through from you, the listener, about the first show when we started hearing about the reptilians and bases on the moon and none on Mars, and there's no underground bases in the U.S. With aliens in them, etc. So we do have a number of follow-up, a lot of them to do with really narrowing down, well, they're all narrowing down and drilling down into the answers we first got on that first show. So with that, I want to say hello, Elizabeth. How are you? And Elizabeth says, hi.
Okay.
Elizabeth is just run off to do something. It's an estrogen thing. I have no idea what she does. So I want to
Oh, no. I had face muted. I'm sorry. I was talking. Yes, hello.
Oh,
Hi.
hello.
I'm well.
You are well.
Now I have face mute. Yeah,
face
it's terrible.
mute.
It's a terrible disease.
Oh, lovely. And we have our little list. We have our volumes of questions. Now, the other thing is, young Joanna is a little bit under the weather, which is not going to affect her guide, Rob, because he's always healthy. But Joanna will have a bit of an issue. She's got a bit of a sore throat, so we've got to make sure that she doesn't do a lot of talking. So we'll try to get the questions as exact as we possibly can, so we're not all over the place on them. But I do want you to realize that if you want a reading from Joanna, a fabulous reading, you can go to her website, joannathemedium.com, and make an appointment. It's she does them over the phone via YouTube, and she also she has a YouTube channel. I shouldn't say she does your readings by YouTube, does it through Skype, and she does have a YouTube channel to go look up too. Again, joannathemedium.com. Joanna, how's your throat?
It's not bad. I'll be good. By the way, Rob says he prefers wine and red at that. No beer.
What's red wine? Okay.
That's what I'm drinking. That's what I have. And I never drink.
Oh, that's why he said cheers, because he kept saying cheers. I'm going, what are you cheering to? Okay,
cheers,
so maybe maybe he was making a joke with you. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, hey, I got a really quick question. Has Rob ever been terrestrial? Did he go through a time on Earth with us?
He asked to repeat the question and put it more succinctly. Has
he ever been down on Earth going to buy a bottle of wine and drinking it?
Has he ever been a human, in a human form?
More of a human form than human, yeah.
He's telling me you're asking if he was ever in a human form. The answer is yes, and he's saying to me around 1500s. But he's also telling me that his incarnation is not predominantly on Earth. He typically, quote-unquote, occupies other dimensions.
Very cool. Very cool. So he actually has wine then. He's had a drink of wine. So that's good. So he knows of which...
He understands what grapes are.
Yes.
Where was he? What kind of wine was he drinking? Because, which, France, Italy?
No, he's actually pointing me more towards Middle East. And I'm being taken to places where, I'm seeing pyramids, so that's Egypt. Would Egypt be considered Middle East?
Yeah.
Yeah. And please, just for the record, whenever I get this information, I have no clue what I'm saying. I do not hold me responsible. I do not own any of this. Half the time, I don't know what I'm saying. Just for the record.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's very unique about this. You'd actually have to listen to the show back to know what you said.
Yeah, because half the time I don't know what I'm saying.
It's a direct channel. Very cool. And I apologize because I just threw a nut in my mouth and I started chewing on it, and then I realized, holy cow, I'm on the show. So please do not do that at home. Oh, you can. I just have the show. So, again, we had a number of questions put to us in regards to the very first show when Rob was coming through. And just so our listener knows, we aren't going to ask about 9/11 and conspiracies. I got close enough with the JFK stuff last time. I asked 3 questions and I got shut down on the 4th. First one was, how many people were involved in the assassination of JFK? The answer was 3. And then I asked if the shooter, how many people pulled the trigger? 1. And then I asked if that person has ever been arrested. The answer was no. I then asked who it was, and that's as far as we got. And the reason being, ladies and gentlemen, is yes, we're getting the information channeled through Joanna, But Joanna is doing what she's doing for a higher purpose. And there are a lot of people out there that have made a lot of money on conspiracies. And we're not going to get into 9/11 because there are people who have written books on the conspiracies of that and do the talking tours and make a lot of money and travel around, the world talking about how it's an inside job and things like that. And we're not going to get into that because Joanna doesn't have the backup to fight these guys in the media or, get a nasty letter. It is not her path to take on that negativity. So we're not going to get into those things. We're going to come close. And if it's too close, I get told...
He'll tell you.
Yeah, Rob will tell me. So we're pretty good that way. He doesn't pull any punches, and it's all good. Elizabeth?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes. For Rob, and this is just to he doesn't have to answer these questions, but can he see the probability field going forward at all? And
what he's saying to me is that yes, there is. Let me just listen. Some probabilities are of higher proportions than others, but he's also saying that when it comes to timelines, we as humans put too much emphasis, and when that happens, we lose track of what is beyond. So in other words, once we get hooked on a particular information piece, as far as timing, it's also almost like we forget everything else. So timing isn't really, actually, what is it? Well, he says time is fluid. Yes, I get that. Okay. He says people often want to know when. That isn't necessarily written in stone. It is a movable, breathable component of an experience. So timing, aside from not being always the best thing to predict, because it's movable, it also has a life of its own, so to speak. So that's why timing is tricky. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But he says probabilities, yes, do exist, and he can give you a parameter of such.
Okay.
I love how he talks. The way he talks.
Interesting. Elizabeth, now, just so the listener knows, Elizabeth has a number of questions regards like pre-1950s. And I'm going to, Elizabeth, I'd like to start off with get the Bigfoot and Dogman stuff out of the way before we get into other monsters and things.
Are we going to talk about Hitler?
We are.
I knew it. Yeah.
Because that's my thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but that's pre-50. Drat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get to do Hitler because you
because I'm a guy.
Love it so, and
and
I like U.S. stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bigfoot, Big Feet. In our first episode, we found that Bigfoot was actually an Ekko. This is being brought here by a group called the Travelers for mating purposes, so that they can literally get a piece of an adaptable, we'll call it DNA for the lack of a better term, in their system, because where they come from, they don't have that, and so they come here for that.
It's to prevent extinction, so it's about adaptability. Yeah,
adaptability, and that what we see or what we've seen for years as Sasquatch or Bigfoot, these really tall, stinky, hairy things, are actually I would say cloaking. It's hard to explain what this is. Anyway, they're actually mantis beings. And it's how the mantis being comes here and it's what it basically changes into, so it gives it the availability to mate with the large mammals on Earth. So here are my questions. Now, he says that these are mostly in the mountains and mountainous areas. and it's an intergalactic species. The questions from our listener come into, first of all, Rob, what does it mate with?
Bears mostly.
Bears, okay.
Mostly, yes.
And how long have they been coming to Earth to mate?
50 plus years.
50 plus years. Now, again, do we get into because they've been seen around here for over 100 years. So when it says 50 plus, is he talking, yeah, okay, it's like saying, well, over 10 years. Well, yeah, because it's been 1,000, so...
That's it. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Let me go and ask, because I just got that, and I don't know much about Bigfoot, so I'm going to ask him. Sometimes he answers questions in a very convoluted way, so to speak. So he doesn't evade the question, but he answers it. Not necessarily how we want to hear it. So let me just ask him. He says it's 123 years to be precise.
Oh, thank you, Rob. That's kind of nice. He's
which is 50 plus.
Yeah, it's 50 plus. But now he understands when we ask like a timeline, we'd like basically for the human timeline on these things. Rob, and I'm going to ask, I have a number of...
He's also saying to me, he's following up with this, and he's saying that it is only since the 1970s that the seeing them has increased. Does that make any sense to you? Would you know?
Yeah, it's pretty much since the 70s, yeah. Primarily because we've the populations around the areas where they're seen more have grown. Now, one of the things I do have to get into, he did explain that they come here, they mate, and they leave. But Elizabeth has encountered a family with children.
Oh.
So when do they leave? Like, do they actually give birth here, or do they give birth at another location? Or do they leave and give birth? Or if they do, can the kids come back with them?
What he's showing me is that seems to be two ways of doing this. I see one very clearly as shown to me, a Sasquatch, I guess, or Bigfoot, going back into whatever it looks like, spaceship, and it leaves once it has accomplished the mission. So I'm assuming it's a female, although it feels very male, which I wouldn't understand unless it had the capacity to do both at the same time.
And just so you know, and you don't remember this, but that's what was explained in the first time we talked.
Oh,
both male and female can carry the child.
Okay. The other one seems to be, but he's saying to me, this is rather rare, where the offspring or the family with the offspring will choose to hang around for a while in order to see how the offspring adapts to the environment here in this density.
Okay.
But he's saying to me, and he's underlying, this is rather rare. So whatever Elizabeth has encountered seems to be quite rare. But she has seen a lot of rare things, he says to me.
Yeah. Elizabeth, do you have a follow-up?
Oh, well, I think, I've always been told that Colorado Bigfoot groups were different. But nobody would tell me why they were different. So I don't know if that what he's speaking of, or am I just weird?
Well, we're all weird, so that aside, let me go back. So he says, what is that? Ask the question.
I was told by other Bigfoot communicators that the group in Colorado was different, but they wouldn't say why they were different. They just said that Colorado Bigfoot are different and they're harder to befriend, and they're and I was like, well, okay, well we've done that at least to some, but they wouldn't say anything more about why they were different.
Okay, so let me just go back. Why are they? I just want to ask, in fact, it's the way I ask a question. Are they in fact different? In some respect, yes. Okay, in what respect are they different? Their size differ. He's showing me they are slightly larger and taller. Okay, now why is that? He says it's a different formulation. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and they're the ones that have the families.
Okay.
Yeah, offspring.
Okay. He was also showing me at the beginning, before you asked those questions, they're actually quite gentle creatures. He's showing me, and I can actually sense the energy. They're very gentle and they're easily scared. Well, that's obvious. But they're saying to me they're not aggressive. As species, they're gentle.
Yes, okay. Very protective. Can I ask him? I have a braided something that came from my horse, a braided mane. How did that get there? Was that Bigfoot, or did something other weird happen? And it's not braided, it's macrame.
I'm not seeing clearly what it is, but I do see it's light in color. Is it in fact light in color? Is something?
Yeah, he was white.
Okay. He's showing me that this was a being that was curious about your horse.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not really going into it. He shows me the picture that I would describe as Sasquatch. Oh, I don't know why I want to say Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I guess that's the interchangeable.
Yeah.
And he's saying to me this. It was a young one, and he's comparing it to like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So curiosity.
Male or female? Yeah.
I sense it's a male. I feel it's more male.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And going back, thank you, Rob and Joanna. Going back to our listener questions, and we've kind of covered this briefly, but because they're coming from the listener, I have to ask them anyway. Has a Bigfoot or the Ekko ever killed a human?
And he says no, and that would never happen. And I'm saying, well, if it gets too close, he says to me, no, they would rather run. So he emphatically said no.
Have humans ever killed one or captured one?
He says to me there were several that were injured, but I feel that none were captured.
Okay. Let me look down. We got 123 years they've been coming here. And I'm just going. Sorry, listener. I'm just double checking to make sure that I don't miss one of your questions when it comes to Bigfoot. Bigfoot, are they basically the same as a Yeti?
He's giving me a comparison that is, it's like comparing sun to the moon.
Okay.
So I guess that would be a no, but they come from the same space.
Oh, okay. So they're also alien beings that are down doing what they have to do to survive, or are they earthbound beings, a species that just looks like the Bigfoot?
He calls them interdimensional beings.
Okay, so they're the same. They're interdimensional beings. Mm-hmm. And we go from, let's see, if there was a question asking if the Bigfoot is a slave race.
He says to me that slavery is not known to other races than human, to races other than human.
Okay, that's good to know. What would
There is codependencies in structures where one structure has codependencies, but he says slavery is not tolerated.
Okay, good.
He says it's a human behavior.
Yeah, we're idiots. What would you gift a Bigfoot? We had a question come in because one of the guys likes to, he believes there's some on his property. He wants to gift them. What would be something you could, they would like?
The first thing he said is give them your heart, and not that you have to rip your heart out, okay? So it is to greet them with affection rather than trying to create something out of the ordinary. But as far as, are you asking about food? Is that what you're asking?
I think that might be one of the things.
The question?
Primary things, yeah.
Okay, because he's showing me offering one an apple.
Okay. That's very common.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Now, will the Ekko actually be able to recognize, like, if we put a camera up in the tree and, like, a game camera, will they recognize those?
He's saying to me that they have a very highly skilled sensory perception. So though they may not necessarily see it with their eyes, they will perceive the signal emanating from a particular piece of equipment.
Okay. Interesting.
There's high sensory, yeah.
Okay. Because they won't go off unless you kind of cross a beam, but I guess they may pick up the beam.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah. Has there ever been one captured on camera?
There's been,
like, for real,
perceptions of, like, somebody says this is a Bigfoot I caught on my game camera. But again, it's all it all comes down to somebody else's opinion. Looking at the guy's picture.
What I'm being told is that these species do not come down here to be caught for entertainment.
Yeah.
So they're very careful and they're very skilled as to not get themselves into quote-unquote trouble unnecessarily.
Now, that kind of follows up to one of the other questions that I have about Bigfoot. It's why are they nocturnal? Probably because
I don't answer. I will ask him. I will ask him. He's actually saying to me that it is easier for them to move around when it is dark. He says to me that light, their perceptors in their eyes and light, there's not a lot of comfort with that. So whatever light, I guess, is here, it's easier for them to move around at night.
Yeah.
It's to do with their perception.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that they're not as seen as much. They're much more concealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's my other question here? Does Bigfoot know Dogman? Have they ever bumped into each other over a wine or something?
Yes, and it's not a wine. That's a joke. Okay, let me just probe for. Let me see if you can show me more. He says they're both intergalactic species, but one project was mismanaged. And he's pointing at the dog thing.
The dog thing. The Dogman.
The dog thing. The Dogman. Huh?
The
Dogman. And that's the...
It was something to do with the calculation having gone wrong.
Yep.
Some kind of calculation.
And that is something that's going to be above my pay grade, I think, to figure out what that actually means. Now, question right to Rob. Does he, and just, he know, I better ask him. Can you ask him if he knows that I have some audio of what is perceived as the Ekko or Bigfoot speaking?
He says he knows that you have some information that you think is Ekko, yes.
Okay. Would he be able to tell me if it is or not?
He's asking me to keep my mouth shut right now. I don't know why.
Okay, because he knows where it was going to go.
Okay.
Because I was going to let him listen and to see if he could tell me, he could actually translate it.
He literally showed me to zip my mouth.
Okay. Because...
He's funny.
Well, no, he's not funny. He's playing his cards close to his chest because we do... they came from California and the Sierra Nevadas. They went to a linguist. And if everybody knows, the story from the Inception game, basically the Enigma machine, which was the coded German machine, it was broken by literally figuring out like 2 or 3 words. Once those 2 or 3 words were figured out, the entire code was broken. And if Rob could have translated 1 or 2 of those into actual human words, then by sending them back to the linguist and building backwards on it, we could actually get the language or a part of the language and understand it. That is not what Rob is telling me. Is that's not for us to know right now.
He is telling me, or he's telling you, and the listeners, that some information we are not ready for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
And he says, and he shows me the word chaos. It will be amplified, and it would call chaos. And he says, you do not need that right now.
No, we have enough chaos going on.
Yes, we have enough pies of that. Enough, yeah.
We can make our own chaos. Heck, us humans, we can make chaos while we're sleeping.
He says, these are species that mean no harm to the human. However, human want to sensationalize everything they see.
No. Yes, we do. And I know because I'm married to a reporter. If it bleeds, it leads.
And he says that having certain information be out there would actually be harmful to the species of which we are speaking, and that's his language, not mine.
No, and that's good.
And that is not the intent.
Yeah, we do not want to harm those species. I don't care if it would be really cool. My job is to ask the question and respect the answer. And that's what we have to do.
Yeah. He said most humans would want to catch them and experiment on them. They would not want to have them as a species in their society.
Yeah. That's... unfortunately, there's still a lot of them until after the shift and we get cleaned out. But that's a whole other issue. I want to go, Elizabeth, if I can, to Dogman, and then I'll bounce you over to the pre-50 stuff. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert. Rob, because we're casual. We had some discussions on Dogman. A number of the things that were developed from our first conversation is that Dogman actually, again, was kind of an error in the formula, and this being was
miscalculation.
A miscalculation. Yeah. There were thousands of them in North America and in Russia that they only lived to 27 years old. They're not harmful to humans, and they cannot breed. And that's it. Now, we have dogmen and people reporting to see dogmen, and they're growly and they'll chase you, and they've got demon red eyes and all these horror stories about this thing. Is what those people are seeing or what they're reporting embellished by imagination, or are they seeing something different?
He says anything that is seen as out of the ordinary will be perceived as frightening and therefore elevated to a higher equation of, again, what's that word? Almost like a scandal. That's not quite what he said.
Yeah,
but
okay.
It's just to make chaos.
Chaos.
Sensationalism.
Yes.
Sensationalism.
Yes.
So we sensationalize these things. Now, how long ago did this group of beings how long ago were they introduced to Earth?
I'm seeing the year 1927.
Oh, that's interesting because the 27 comes up. That's me being my police thing. The number 27 coming up twice is odd because they lived to 27 years old. So pre-1927, nothing. They weren't around, and then after that, how did so many get here if they don't breed?
I'm trying to see what he's showing me. He's actually showing me beings coming from different space and breeding with what looks like a bear that then turns out to be this thing.
Okay.
That has apparently gone sideways.
Yes, obviously. So
it's not that they have come from other space, is that they were bred here, but whatever happened, the miscalculation, as he called it, was outside of the parameters of functionality, and therefore it had to be abandoned.
So it was a genetic screw up, basically.
Miscalculation.
A miscalculation. Yeah, it's and see, we've got Bigfoot coming here to breed with bears, and instead of them leaving with the child, maybe the Bigfoot were impregnating the bears, and these things are coming out. But who knows? That's almost a question, but I'm pulling it back.
I'm trying to see if he can show me. No, he's showing me whoever the being is. I'm not getting a clear picture of it, but mating with bears, and then it just turning out the way it turned out.
Yeah. So we don't know what the being that mated the bears looked like.
I don't see it. No.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
It's very fuzzy to me right now, this picture.
Big fuzzy thing. Let's go through my Dogman list here. The Montauk Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Rob if he's familiar with that name.
He is, but I'm not, because I'm asking him, what is that? That's not the one we talked about last time, is it? No.
No.
No, okay.
That was Mothman.
Okay.
And that he said was an apparition. That
wasn't there something about something in a lake and with eggs?
Oh, no, that was Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Montauk Monster. Ask Rob if the Montauk Monster is also what we call Dogman.
First of all, he says, you're asking if it's real. The answer is yes. 1 second. He's showing me kind of, sort of, but not really. So that's not a very clear answer for me.
Nor I.
Can you ask it again, please?
Rob, is the Montauk Monster Dogman? Are they the same species?
He says to me they're intertwined, but I feel that there is a difference. But they're intertwined.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I ask him? Okay. Was the Montauk Monster manipulated by scientists?
Earth scientists?
On Earth. Earth scientists.
He says to me that although it was an experiment, it was not experimented by humans.
Okay.
So that would be a no.
That's a no.
Are there any humans? Humans are sorry, as you were. Are humans themselves? Is the human race an experiment?
He says to me, no, you are a valid congregation.
Okay,
That's
that
what
makes
he called
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Congregation? What does that mean? I kind of get it. But.
It's an easy way of it's the most simplified way of saying the human race is an individual existence.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, actually it's a perfect way of saying it.
Okay.
And that's it for my Bigfoot Dogman on this page. And I'm going to let you go with your pre-1950 stuff, Elizabeth. Okay. And I'm going to dig... oh, crap. I found a few more. Hold on. Okay, we've already asked that. No, actually, I got all these. Disregard. Off you go.
Good.
Yeah.
He says you have one more question, James.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Can you tell me what it is? Or just give me the answer?
Oh, God. Oh, he's smiling. Maybe it'll come to you. He says you have one more question you forgot.
Okay.
Is it James or is it me? Because I always have personal questions.
James. No, it's James. He's pointing at James.
Okay.
And it's something to do with the Dogman.
Okay, I'll keep looking there.
Okay.
Okay. We can start, but we're going to have to go on a break in a little bit.
No, we're not.
Everybody in the chat... Okay, everybody in the chat rooms... Yes, we are. Everybody in the chat rooms, I'm going way to the way back. The first question is, were there or are there a race of aliens called Anunnaki who created or designed human beings to be their slave race? And you can break that up. Were there Anunnaki? Did they...
He says, remember that slavery is a human experience. No other races participate in enslaving their own species, for that would be unnatural.
Good.
That's a very eloquent answer.
Yes. But were there beings that were like gods that may have been Anunnaki, maybe not enslaving mankind, but mankind blamed them for things because they were different? Like the Greek gods, the Norse gods, the Egyptian gods.
What he's showing me is that there were... And we're going back like ancient times. There were beings that have worked with a human form or with a human incarnation in order to help them elevate and evolve. And this has a lot to do with technology and their conditioning, mind conditioning. However, something, for whatever reason, some power wanted to have more of a control. And control, he says, is mostly done by the mechanism of fear. And because those higher beings were working with pure intentions and love, they had to separate because the two of them were no longer on the same page.
Got it.
Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. It means that something else got in between humans and the Anunnaki. It goes along with something I saw I'd like him to confirm. I once did a session where I was told that the Anunnaki had spent time genetically changing our food sources so that they would be better for us.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the technology that he was referring to.
Yeah. And that would make sense. I also have seen from a past life reading a gentleman who was moving large blocks with his mind, a telekinetic moving of large concrete blocks like that were used in, similar to what were used in Egypt or were used in Egypt or somewhere in the world, and he was moving them by thought with his mind. Would that be related to the Anunnaki, or was I completely in left field?
He says you are referring to say it again. You're referring to a being or a set of beings, if you call it that way, they're interdimensional, who have the ability to not only perceive with thoughts, but also construct with thoughts.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Thank you. The answer is yes. Thank you. All right, and here are some that some other people ask. Was the Holy Grail a real item? Is it a real item?
He says the Holy Grail was a functionality of the human mind. I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
It's a communion with Christ.
Is that what it means?
It's something along those lines, depending on who writes about it. Yeah.
One of the questions I have that came through about the Holy Grail was it a real cup, or does it define Jesus Christ's bloodline?
Okay, that's really interesting because he says to me, we're not going to get into it because too many people's lives depend on it.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does because we're into Go ahead.
Yeah,
religion.
And I love what he said, because if there's so many writings and so many of the Templar Knights went off looking for the Holy Grail, when actually what it was a connection with Christ consciousness, with divinity, and they were all looking for this cup. So there are many books about that.
Yeah,
and
they took it literal.
Probably a better way. Yeah, they took it literal, and it wasn't good. Bad things happened.
And always do.
Yeah.
I've got a follow-up on that one from our friend Joe. The Ark of the Covenant, was it discovered by the Templars and brought to North America? But I should first say the Ark of the Covenant, if it did exist, or did it exist? If so, what was it?
Okay, so now I'm getting into territory where I have completely no knowledge of this, so this is going to be tricky for me because I have to interpret this. Okay, hang on. Can you ask the question one at a time, please?
Did the Ark of the Covenant exist?
Was it real?
Yes.
Okay. He says yes. However.
Oh.
Okay, hang on. And keep in mind, I don't know what it is, so I'm doing my best here to interpret what he's showing me. It was it a piece of art?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he's saying to me,
it was quite beautiful.
Saying to me, it was a piece of art that was, what's the word, please? Inspired by higher dimension. Okay. So it is a yes, but there is a however. However, that does not discount its validity.
I understand. Does it still exist?
He shows me that it exists in pieces, but it is somewhere hidden underground.
Mm-hmm. Was it brought to North America, or any pieces of it brought to North America?
I'm asking him 3 times. He says no.
Okay.
However, he says to me there are replicas of it.
Oh, yes, they use them in movies. Joanna,
that are perceived as real. That's
as
what
real?
he means.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last question I have on that, sort of to do with that, is he familiar with a search of an island in Canada on the east coast called Oak Island? And could he tell me if anything is going to be found in there, or will anything be found on Oak Island?
The only thing I see is that there is either a portion of the island or something that is hidden beneath the waterline.
Yeah.
However, he's not showing me what it is.
Yeah, they've already gone down that deep.
Mm-hmm.
They're already down there. And there are so many different theories of what they're going to find and who. It's an amazing
Oh, wow.
It's an amazing feat of engineering from hundreds of years ago. Would he be able to tell me if the engineering on that island that hid whatever items a few hundred years ago, was that man-made?
First of all, he said to me that whatever is going to be found is going to have an essence of prehistoric times.
Prehistoric? Interesting.
Yeah, like what is that? What does that mean? Prehistoric.
That's usually
before human mankind.
Yeah, prehistory, before human.
It's before Viking. It would be before. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
It'd be.
But who actually did the engineering that hid this item?
He says to me it was a cosmic complexity designed by many beings. Go figure that one out.
Okay. So
cosmic complexity, what does that mean? Cosmic complexity.
It was a compilation of beings that got together. It wasn't a bunch of pirates. Unless he's calling a whole bunch of guys from different countries on a pirate ship.
No. He says that. He says pirates wouldn't have a clue. No.
Yeah. I think.
But what he's saying to me, that whatever will be found, and I do feel it's going to be found at some point. He's calling it an invention.
Okay. And
so it might have an effect of something that will look like an invention. That something will be used going forward.
Oh, is it something that we as humans are going to need in the future?
It is a piece of information that is technologically bound that will become very useful in the next 25 to 30 years.
Oh, there's a big star on that one, because that's a whole other line of questioning that we're going to come up to if we're allowed to ask. Okay, that was my follow-ups. Elizabeth, you want to go? Because I honestly,
I want to go to that island like next week. Let's get some money together and we'll go and
go on. Yeah, go on Netflix. Go on. There's an entire TV series about two brothers that are searching the island. This goes back.
We can do much better than them.
I know.
Really? How did they know about it?
When they were children, and the same way I knew about it, I read it in a Reader's Digest magazine about a couple of guys on Oak Island drilling down because they thought that's where Blackbeard's treasure was, and they put a couple of drills down, and one of the drill bits came up with a gold chain on it. Wow. And then they realized there was coconut fiber, and this is an island off of Nova Scotia. So if you're down in the U.S. thinking of Maine and up in the eastern seaboard, north of Maine, and this island has flood. The tunnels are protected by floodwaters that come in through coconut fiber that was used to suck ocean water into the different places. And there's a number of vaults going down in
that itself could be proven useful in technology, I guess, maybe.
Oh yeah, they've already dug down and found all that stuff. The trouble is that they're having is as they go down into the bowel of the island, more water comes in. They're having all the engineering struggles you would have looking down there.
That's what they're showing me. Yeah, he's showing me that the deeper they dig, it's almost like it collapses on itself.
Yeah, and there is a myth, or not a myth, but there is a history legend that 6 people must die before the quote-unquote treasure is found. 5 people have died so far.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe I'll wait.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
Wait till the 6th one.
One of the original guys who lives on the island there is going down looking for that. He's in his 90s, so...
Oh, my God. Well, there we go. That's
so he may if he passes, it may go on. But I'm actually going to send the guys this little clip.
Interesting.
And maybe they'll get a hold of you and fly out there and say, okay, Joanna, ask Rob, point to it. But I think my gut feeling on it is that it's only going to be found when it needs to be found.
Yeah, it's not time yet.
No. Yeah,
Okay.
so they're doing a good thing. We're not going to go to a commercial, Elizabeth, because this is... Yeah, so that's 7 minutes we don't have to worry about, so carry on.
Well, Joanna, is that okay with you? Are you feeling strong?
Yeah, I'm good, but if I need to kind of get a break, I'll let you know.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. So, back in the way back, has anyone found Noah's Ark yet in the modern times?
He says no.
Was there a Noah's Ark?
Why would he tell me that it is hidden below the sea line? Why would he tell me that?
Below the sea line. Does he mean it's underwater, or does he mean the old sea line?
He's talking about the elevation.
Mm-hmm. So it's below sea level.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea what he's saying.
Ask him if it means below sea level.
Okay, I'm going to ask him if it's below water or below sea level. Sea level, not water. Sea level.
Okay, it's below sea level. Interesting. Does he know how old it is?
I see the number 1250, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
1250. I have no idea what that means, yeah.
Would we add another 0, yes or no?
Yes, I actually said no. He said no. Let me just ask him again what the number is. 10025. Oh, 10025.
10025. Okay, so 10, that makes more sense. 10.
Okay, 10025.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can check that. Is it near a shoreline?
I heard a yes, but it's very faint.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. I think that's enough. Does anybody in the chat have any questions about far back things?
Hold on.
James.
I've got lots.
Okay.
Were the dinosaurs killed off on purpose?
He said the dinosaurs went extinct.
Okay. So it wasn't we're going to get rid of them and start up a new garden?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not showing me that.
And here's one from, I can't remember who this is from. Was Jesus married to Mary Magdalene?
He says, now we get into religion, eh?
Oh, he actually said A?
Sorry.
Oh my God, you've got a Canadian being. So, hey, so you're going to get into religion, eh? No, it's not religion. This is to do with a relationship.
History.
Yeah, it's history.
Totally history.
Okay. Helen, yes? Did you say Helen?
No, Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene. Okay. He says to me it was a union of love, so...
Oh, they were shacked up. Good. Did they have any children?
At first I got no, but then he showed me a little boy, so I don't understand that's very two different ways. Let me just go back.
Yeah.
Well, before he said that it was a whatever union that he said, he actually said that they had sexual relations. I'm like, okay. And then he said they had the whatever union word he used. I keep hearing the word son. This is not clear. I see I see her holding a baby, and it's a son, and I see him looking at it, but I'm not getting a really clear picture or feeling of what that means.
Okay, I'm going to leave that thought because that could even be, Jesus. He could have just showed up after he had passed, and she may have had a son later, or who knows.
Yeah, or
Or,
but there's a lot of controversy here. Would he like us to continue on this questioning or leave it?
oh, way to go! Don't ask.
Just ask, and then he'll tell me where to go if he doesn't want to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did this boy that Mary Magdalene is holding, did she leave and go to the north with him to Turkey, to the area that's now Turkey or Syria?
He's saying to me she had to leave. She had no choice.
Okay.
And then he says the word shamed. She was shamed, or she would be shamed.
Right. Okay.
Did she have a child? Did she have a child? Do you know?
No.
I don't know.
It's not reported. It's not. Nothing is. The only thing that we know is that she was one of his followers, and she went to see him at the crucifixion and after in the tomb. She was with his mother at the tomb. Excuse me, people, if I'm getting this wrong. So, but there's no talk of her having a child.
This is completely out of my area, like completely.
Did that child grow to adulthood, and did he have children?
First of all, I'm going to ask who this kid is. He says to me it was her son, and I'm asking who fathered the child. He's showing me Jesus looking at him, but he's not saying it was him. So, or he doesn't want to, for whatever reason.
He doesn't want to, yeah.
Or for whatever reason. However, he's very clearly showing me that she had to leave, and I see that there was a lot of sadness with the why she had to leave. And I hear the word shamed. She would be shamed. So maybe she had a child, but nobody knew.
Yeah.
Maybe Jesus had a son.
Named Kevin.
Maybe.
I don't want to start anything, just so you know. I have no clue what I'm talking about.
I'm just channeling for the guy standing behind me named Rob.
Yes. Go after him, not me.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, James? Do you have a bunch more?
Yeah, I've got pages here.
Of the old way back stuff.
Way back? Were you going to talk about Moses?
Yeah. No, well, that would really, that's like 3 whole religions we would upset.
No, could you not do that?
Upset religions?
No, could you just not say that out loud? Not that Rob doesn't know you're thinking it. Oh, my gosh.
Well,
if I ever went on an investigation, you're staying at home. No. No. If I went on a police investigation, I had to interview somebody. Like, did you kidnap the child? Oh, don't ask them that. That's embarrassing.
It's radio.
Okay.
So here was my question. What did Moses actually have a conversation with the big G on the mountain, or was it an intermediary or another intelligence?
Wow. Now we're getting into big guns. Okay. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. Let me just check in how I feel about this. He's laughing at me because I'm very uncomfortable when it comes to religion.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. Okay. Sorry.
I was yelling. I was shushing.
He says, Moses heard the voice of God in his head. Yes, he was led into the mountain, and he has heard in his mind the information he put forth on whatever it was. That was not his word. That was mine.
Okay.
Good answer. Good answer. I like it. I'm happy with that.
He said it was God-inspired. That's how he said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
I've got some old time. We're coming up into more of the modern era. I think Joe has asked me to touch base with Rob on these. Who built the Sphinx and who built the pyramids?
Okay, let me ask. He's actually showing me Egyptians, humans, building Sphinx. However, I also see that there seems to be some, again, intergalactic help that is connected to this.
Okay.
Are those the telekinetic
People?
beings that can create with their mind? Yeah. Helping?
He says this was done with advanced technology, not necessarily with their mind.
Okay.
Now, he's pointing me to pyramids, so let me just see. And he says, same goes with the pyramids. And I'm saying, I think we kind of will figure that out. He says, you will never truly know.
Oh, drat. Well,
yeah.
How about if he...
Well, even if he tells us, we never truly know, because we can't prove it, right?
Oh.
You know, not in our lifetime, anyway.
No, I kind of believe what he says. So if Rob tells me how they were built, I would believe Rob. And
he says that human beings at that time, with the technology that they had, which was advanced in many ways, but less than advanced in others, they did not have the ability or capability in order to build structures of such substance.
Yeah.
The word substance means so much. It's not like they don't build them of that size or that, that pretty. It's the substance of the actual building itself that's important. Now, this kind of gets me over to place. This is one of our friend Joe's questions again. Puma Punku. And that's, I have no idea if I'm saying it right. Puma Punku. Who built it and how old is it? And then I'm going to get a hold of Joe and find out what the heck it is.
I blacked out. I'm not connecting to it.
Okay. Not to worry then.
Okay.
Let's see. I've gone through. Hey, I got a question for you. This is kind of personal. The Valley of the Kings. Some more building in Egypt. And anything back about 30,000 years ago. How is my DNA, my personal DNA, connected to that area?
He says 500 years ago, you were one of those people, or you were one of the peoples.
But
what was 500 years ago?
Yeah, but my DNA actually goes back 30,000 years ago to just north of the Valley of the Kings.
Okay, let me go back. He's bringing me back again. He says your most recent reincarnation in those times or in those areas is or was 500 years ago.
Okay.
About 500 years ago.
Because my actual DNA, like my DNA, first appears on Earth just north of the Valley of the Kings.
You know what he just said to me, and I don't know if he's joking or not, but he says, you do realize that you have some DNA of the reptilian, do you not?
No, I did not. and you can tell him that with my nose somewhat askew.
So I don't know if it was funny
like
or
Sherlock Holmes.
Holmes.
He was Sherlock Holmesing you.
Yes. Yes. You do not know.
Listen, Mr.
Well,
Police
Holmes.
Investigator, you do realize you are reptilian.
Holmes, I'm the doctor. I don't know. So Yeah, I didn't know that. My DNA basically first appears, like I say, north of the Valley of the Kings, goes up to the Holy Lands, over the top of Europe, through Russia, into Scandinavia, over to Scotland and down. And it took 30,000 years to do it. So I'm guessing
so in other words, you traveled around the world.
But we got lost a lot.
There was a lot of sleeping around going on.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm probably got... But I don't have any Genghis Khan in there, so that's... He was spreading the seed quite prolifically there for a while.
Are you at all drawn? Do you have any information about you having any genetic component from like Brazil? He's shown me Brazil with you.
No, I'm not. I don't.
Interesting.
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 Yes. I'm just going through my list here. Have you gone through your basic list? Because I've got like 3 or 4 pages to go through. Elizabeth?
Let's move on from the way back. I can't think of anything. The only other thing I'd want to know is, after Friday the 13th, when the Templars were kicked out of Europe by, I believe it was Richard, somebody can correct me on that, the king that didn't want to pay them for their services, then
Rick III?
Killed a bunch of them.
Oh,
yeah, Rick III. Did they come to North America, or did some of them go to North America?
He says that most of them were killed before they had the chance to cross over.
Yeah.
So they crossed over before they crossed over.
Yeah, so,
some did, but doesn't sound like a whole bunch.
Yeah, it would be like one boat. So did at least one boat make it, or maybe 2 or 3, somewhere in that area?
I want to say, I feel like I need to say few hundred. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
Okay. Did they end up in the Great Lakes and near Minnesota?
He said some of them did, but most of them dissipated throughout the country.
Okay.
And like I'm seeing them spread all over.
And to get to the Great Lakes, they would have to go past Oak Island.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
They would have gone past Oak Island. Mm-hmm.
And they went down into Minnesota, and that's eventually they turned into the Minnesota Vikings.
Go Vikings!
Go Vikings! Okay, where are we here? Montauk Monster, Humans Experiment, Bigfoot, numbers to the lottery. Oh, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. To ask a question based on this lost colony, I know I've seen a television special saying they basically found it because they were looking in the wrong place when they called it lost. Could Rob tell me what happened to the occupants of that colony?
He said they drowned. Would that make any sense?
Yes, it would.
Yes,
there was an awful lot of them, but they were moving upriver.
Oh, okay.
And there is a settlement they found, and they felt that it might be people from the other colony, with the lost one, or whatever, the people, that they just disappeared. So it's like, yeah, I don't know where they went. So, but if they drowned, yeah, they were on the river. And I don't know how many people were in that town, but yeah, it makes sense if they're all on a boat heading up with their belongings.
He said, he's showing me, and I don't know anything about this, but he's showing me this was a time of chaos for them.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with drowning, but whatever the reason of them moving up the river, it had to do, they needed to get their belongings, they needed to get out for whatever reason.
Oh, they may have
There could have been a hurricane.
Hurricane, or issues with American Indians in that area. Yeah, that's...
Because he says, I see the word fleeting, so it sounds like they were fleeing from something.
Okay.
And it was a hasty. There's a lot of haste with it. Yeah.
All right. Now, these questions are kind of bouncing all over the place with not overly connected to anything, because we're just kind of pick and choose them off my list here so we can get through them. If you were taken, now, first of all, the question was, will Dave Scott continue to be taken as an abductee?
He said David Scott made a pact to be a part of an experiment, and he continues to do so with pleasure.
Okay.
So ask him if he likes it.
Yeah.
Was it good?
During an abduction with a false memory planted, can that false memory be erased or removed?
Once an imprint is made, it cannot be erased. It can be forgotten, but it cannot be erased or removed. Okay. It is a permanent imprint.
My friend Kelly the abductions that she is going through, are these going to continue?
Her abductions are traumatic to her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, let me just see what he can show me. He's saying to me that this person in her life, and I don't know if I'm saying too much, let me stop me, okay? But he says to me that in her life she feels very helpless, and they are taking advantage of her quote-unquote weakness.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Are they also Are they also taking her daughter?
They're saying that her daughter is protected and she's also stronger than her mother. But I feel like they're trying to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna on my own ask, can this be stopped, and how can this be stopped?
Thank you. That's what my next question was.
He says to me that she needs to understand that she has a choice in this. But because in her particular life she feels she has little choices, a lot of how she feels within herself emanates to her state of mind and therefore projects a weakness. So it has to, in a roundabout way, he's saying she has to rebuild herself from inside out.
Okay.
With her, it's about she feels she's powerless, but it's not about just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
it's
other stuff going on in her life. Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We went over to her house thinking to do a paranormal investigation, and after talking to her, I said, "No, that's abduction." Who's abducting her?
He says aliens would be your term, but these are interdimensional galactic species who are, quote-unquote, experimenting with her DNA. He does say to me they do not cause her harm, but because when she has some level of consciousness, she feels absolutely perplexed and therefore terrified, that in itself is causing her distress.
Okay. All right.
But he's showing me that physically no harm is done to her. It's just that she's freaking terrified.
Okay. Lovely. So these aliens, does he have a name for that group?
Well, the first thing that came to me was grays. Whatever.
Yeah.
Little ones or short ones or tall ones?
4 feet tall.
Okay. Hey, you're friends, Elizabeth.
Well, I had the same situation. I was feeling weak. I felt like I didn't have a lot of choice because of things happening in my life. Yeah, wow. And so I went and I was terrified, but I did have physical marks and implants that, like in my foot, it's hard to walk when you get something in your ankle or your foot. But when I changed my agreement, I chose to change my agreement when I understood that I did not have to agree to this and that I could make my own choices and that I had personal sovereignty and got stronger, then that relationship completely changed.
I actually had a dream. I don't think I told you this, guys, but this is correlating to this. I had a dream a couple of months ago where I woke up, and if I told you, please remind me or just tell me to stop. I woke up feeling like there was something between my legs, like something was being inserted, and I woke up. And so the next day, I asked Rob, what was this? And he said to me, they were trying to get your DNA. And I said, what happened? And he said, you stopped them. So the next night, I had a dream, and I had a dream where somebody was chasing me, but they were weird looking with these little tiny little eyes. They were humans, but just little tiny little eyes. And they wanted to take advantage of me somehow. And then I was running away from them. And eventually something just snapped at me and I said, I've had enough. And I turned around and I grabbed one female by the neck and I said, enough. And and at that moment, she saw that I recognized who she was, and she saw that I wasn't afraid of her, and she was completely perplexed. And then I said, enough, you're not going to do this anymore. So that happened in a dream the next night. So I've never had these experiences before in my entire life. So it feels like it is to do with, you have to put your foot down once you kind of get to that state.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You have to not run. You have to, don't agree with the powerlessness. Go up to a higher. You might not, and even if you find yourself not empowered in a moment when you're being abducted, the rest of your life you're empowered. So you can take that opportunity and change your agreement during your daily lifetime. You can get with your spiritual help and change your agreements because they're telepathic. These interdimensional beings, and time doesn't really matter to them when they come to do it like they were doing with Joanna or Kelly or myself when I was younger. That's not the point of power. It can be like it was for Joanna, but if you're finding it's not, take your point of power during the day when you're conscious, and change your agreement then. And be very firm. Be very firm.
And I actually asked Rob, I said, what is it like? Why all of a sudden am I having this experiencing, number one? And number two, what did they want from me? And he said to me that for whatever reason, I have a DNA that is, I guess they like. And I said, what is this? And it's something to do with almost like this is going to sound funny, but he explained it to me as like a very warrior-like personality. And that's apparently.
Yeah, there's another term for that. Starts with a B.
Hero.
Hero, one of the things I want to run by you here, or Rob, now that you guys are bouncing back and forth here. We did the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, look at this page. Can one of our space brothers, what we would call aliens, can they time travel?
They time travel all the time.
And what time do they go? I'm kidding.
Where's Frank Zappa when we need him?
Not on your watch, he says. Yeah. Not on your watch.
Okay. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go through this stuff here again. And what do we have is time travel. The Flight 370. And gosh darn it, that's all the notes I have on it. Can Rob tell us what happened to Flight 370?
Drowned. I
Yeah.
get drowned.
Where they're beside an island on a coral shelf. Does he have the name of that island?
He's not giving me a name, but so if I'm looking straight, keep in mind that I don't know which direction I'm facing, it seems to be towards my left, and I keep hearing the words Philippines.
Okay. Now, if he's not giving you a name, if I was to say a name, would he tell me if I was right or wrong?
He said no.
Okay.
I'm going to ask him why.
Because we're testing him. Sorry.
Yeah.
He says no, he doesn't take it personally. It has something to do with the people's lives who are lost, who choose to remain anonymous, whatever that means.
Okay. So that's why, even, like, I know the name of the island. I know, like, they're still inside the fuselage, sitting on the shelf around this island, about 150 to 200 miles away from one piece of that aircraft washed up. And the lady who actually crossed over, all the passengers and the crew members, because they all showed up in her house, they told her where it was. Her last name is the same as the island. And we cannot... we tried to get that information out to the authorities, and it just doesn't happen. There's something screws up. We can never get it out there. So they're not meant to be found. And right now, they're China, Australia aren't looking in the right place, and they won't get back to it.
Does it have anything to do with Philippines?
I would have to look it up.
It would be to the left.
Oh, it's to the left of Australia.
Map, it's definitely going to be.
It'll be the left of Australia.
Philippines is north. Yeah, and it's to the left of the Philippines if you're looking at a map. It's pretty far, but not.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a map, it'd be left.
Yeah, it's closer to India than it is to Australia.
Okay. I suck at geography too, and history, so you're in good company, because you don't, and I do.
Okay, so... yeah, that's an interesting... If listeners out there ever want to know where it is, look for a interview with me on iTunes with a Mary Ellen Rodriguez is her last name, just like the island, Rodriguez Island. But that said, I'm not going to tell you where the place is. Is there... This is actually a really interesting question. It was part of a lot of questions based on this, but is there a natural cure for cancer? And by natural, I mean, is there a plant out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he's showing me, well, first of all, he said not yet, but there is a pause. He's showing me that the science is getting very close to finding a cure for some cancers. Okay? He's predominantly talking about skin cancer right now, and interestingly enough, liver cancer. I don't know if that's predominant.
That's a bad one.
Is that a bad one? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, he is also taking me to a forest, and this is a place somewhere in a jungle. I don't know where I am. It feels like it's a rainforest. And he's showing me, he's asking me to look at a tree. I do not know what this tree is, and he's asking me to look at the leaves, something to do with the leaves and the properties of the leaves that have something anti-something leptic properties.
Anti-something lectic properties.
I can't quite...
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That is. The other part of that question was to do with cannabis not hemp, but cannabis. Does cannabis help cure cancer?
It helps to relieve symptoms and therefore prolongs life.
Good. That's kind of where I thought that was going. I'm going to ask you, Rob. I'm just hold on. I'm actually communicating with Rob in my head right now, just to double check to see if I can ask a question.
Did he answer you?
No, I'm asking him to tell you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's a yes or no.
Well, first he said yes, and then he looked at the clock. He says not yet. So what were you thinking of?
After the break.
No, quit making me go on a break. What is this? You have to go to the bathroom? Go to the bathroom, Liz, for goodness sakes. Go. You won't miss anything. You can listen to the recording later. A friend of mine, Sarah, bless her, got married last year, worked really hard to become a nurse. 90 days into her nursing career, got diagnosed with lung cancer. And she's like 34 years old, 33, no history of cancer in her family. And it's kind of out of the blue, and I'm not... The ultimate question that I want to ask isn't something I'm going to say out loud on the radio, but I'm asking why. Is this just something that needs to be put in her path at this point?
It is what her soul has chosen in order to overcome.
Okay. That actually answers my the question that I was afraid to ask, too.
Okay.
Okay. Does Rob, is he nodding like I got it? Like for me?
I'm nodding my head for some reason. I don't know why, so I guess that's a yes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Does she have a child?
No. I think she would have liked to have one.
Because I see her with a daughter. So I don't know what that's what that's about.
Means that she's going to come out of this okay.
Okay.
Stage 4 lung cancer.
Wow.
In her early 30s, no history, no smoking, no environmental. She was a waitress in a restaurant and then went to college to become a nurse. And out of the blue got hit.
Okay, I'm just going to say something that came to me completely out of the blue. I heard the word asbestos.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Crazy. Must have
and
been
ask her if she ever lived in a basement or in a house that had a basement.
Okay, I'll ask her.
But 30 years ago, was that still prevalent?
Yes.
Right now it is, depending if you live in an older house.
And in teaching institutions, I used to do asbestos.
Elizabeth, you have to stand on a ladder. We're losing your volume.
Oh, no!
That's better. There you go.
Do we know if asbestos causes cancer?
Yeah.
Lung cancer.
Yeah,
it does?
causes lung cancer. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I'm going to move off of that, just in case she wants to listen to this. I don't want to get anything else. Time travel. Okay, Jack the Ripper. A number of people have identified possibilities for Jack the Ripper, a serial killer in Old London. One of the, they connect him to the Masons and the royal family and people from some fellow from the U.S. who went over there and then went back to Chicago and carried on. I have my own belief in who this guy was. I'm gonna ask Rob. On the very last killing, there was a witness who was one of the two men who found the young woman's body. And he ran up beside him, and the fellow who was standing over the body was kind of shocked and said, "Oh, I just found her." And he told the fellow that had just run up to, you go call the police and I'll wait here. So Buddy ran around the corner to get the constable. They came back and the first guy was gone. But over history, they determined it was a guy who worked in an abattoir and had a family, and he was within walking distances of all these murders on his way to or from work. Is that the person who was responsible?
What was the word that you used? Abattoir?
Abattoir. It's a place where they kill, they cut up meat. It's
that's really interesting, because what he was showing me is, first and foremost, he said this was a psychologically disturbed man. Obviously, we don't need Rob for that, haha. But he also showed me that this was a person who was either a surgeon or worked with tools like a surgeon.
Yeah, and Jack the Ripper was always, they thought it was a surgeon because of how he eviscerated the victims, which is a fancy cop word for cutting them up. So is he leaning towards, is the person I described as being seen standing over the last woman's body, and the person who walked back and forth to go to work in the meat cutting plant, the one that actually was responsible for these murders?
He says yes, but he makes me feel like it's not a straight answer for some reason.
Was it more than one person?
Well, he said to me yes, and then he said most of them. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And the feeling I get is almost as if, because of what was happening and because of how it was sensationalized, there might have been another person who was like a copycat, another disturbed person that decided to, okay, this is in the news, that's how I'm going to do it. Because he makes me feel like there was one person who does majority, but there's also another person who kind of does something similar, but they're not connected.
Mm-hmm. That's very common. Yeah, that's a yeah. It's you know, there's things where authors say it was a ritual in the Jewish faith. Yeah, it was all different ones. The guy who was worked at the abattoir, that was another one. I think his name was William Burry. Mm-hmm. And I think he's the one who was the primary Jack the Ripper.
He's saying to me that whoever the person was that ran away, I think that's the way you mentioned.
Yes.
Or, you call him Jack the Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
He was psychologically disturbed from when he was very young.
Yes. They usually are.
Yeah. So it's almost, I get the feeling, and I don't necessarily believe in possessions. I do, but I don't want to. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like it's like he's not there, like he's possessed. It's just really very strange.
Yeah, it's one of the theories I have is when your vibration drops, either from alcoholism, drug use, depression, lack of sleep, stress, anything like that, you are prey to beings, and you may be a low energy human anyway. So when that energy drops to a certain point, there are beings that will step in and control you.
He's connecting his condition to his father. So abusive father, apparently.
Yeah.
Psychologically abusive father. Yeah,
that's very, very common. It's there's always a reason for somebody to do something, and when you are kind of broken at a very young age, it's sometimes almost impossible to fix.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
You didn't get to your MacArthur question or Flatwoods. No. Go for it.
No, and I want to do that, but first, have you heard of the shoes, the feet in shoes?
I think we talked about that last time. Yeah, I think we talked about that last time. But
okay.
Somehow that rings a bell.
Okay, you mean washing up in the ocean?
Washed up, yeah.
Yeah, washed up. I forgot that we asked that one.
I
don't know if you did, but for some reason it sounds familiar.
You didn't ask, and the reason it sounds familiar because it happens all over our neighborhood here. What happens is to a human being when they're in the water, you've got to understand, it's not somebody cutting people's feet off. It's actually, if you look at a clothed human, throw them in the water, the joints are what become detached first. The head, elbows, and everything. Now, what on the body is completely tied up in a little bag is your feet.
What do you mean?
Well, you've got shoes on, and they're laced up.
Okay.
Everything else has loose clothing and eventually just spreads apart. But the shoes themselves will hold the meat in them, and they'll roll around. Yeah, the crabs will get in and eat it out, but the crabs really are paying more attention to the soft bits under your pajamas or your jeans. But the feet will travel. And
also, you're talking like when it decomposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it breaks
but
down.
What about the joints, the bones that connect it?
They're only joined by tissue and cartilage. Yeah. So they break off. The head is the first thing that goes, and then it's animals will take it. But feet are wrapped
fabulous.
Up. Feet are wrapped up in leather shoes with laces or in boots. So.
But here's the thing: my question was, are any of these from a serial killer? Any of these feet that have been found, or are they all just natural? I jumped off a bridge because I'm depressed, or what have you?
Well,
he says it depends on the area. Many of them are drownings. Some of them are what we would call a murder cases.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But as a serial killer cutting people's feet off? Why do I keep saying
No, he might just be disposing of them in water.
Yeah.
And then their feet.
But we have
I'm being shown
suicide.
Somebody being thrown off,
Yeah. It happens, but we also have people jumping off a bridge locally because we're on a river and by the ocean. They commit suicide off bridges once a week, once every week and a half.
Yeah,
so
that's a drowning. Yeah.
That's 40, 45 a year. Eventually their feet are going to pop up somewhere.
That would be a crappy way to die, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, okay, that's enough.
That's enough,
okay. MacArthur, go ahead.
Okay, so let's start off with 1947. Dwight D. Eisenhower is rumored to have met with aliens and made some sort of agreement with them. And these would probably be the Greys or the Zetas and possibly a combination. But is that rumor true? Did he meet with aliens and was there an agreement?
He said there was some level of communication, however, there was no agreements made.
Okay. Was there any agreement made after that?
Yeah, he's already pointing me 1950s.
Okay.
Either 1950 or past 1950s.
Okay. So that brings me to the 1952 UFO flap, which was when aliens or ships were over Washington, D.C., and then were shot down, witnessed being shot down by U.S. Air Forces. Did that happen before the agreements or after?
He says after.
Were they a different group of aliens?
He said they were uninvited, so they were uninvited.
Okay. So it was a group that... Have we seen them on this planet since that time?
He says on many occasions, yes, and you yourself, Elizabeth, have seen it as well.
Okay.
Have you?
I don't remember the one that they're describing in the Flatwoods case. I don't remember seeing that or a ship like that. So, but I may have because I've been around. I get around. But
he's showing me a picture of you when you were very young, and I want to say maybe anywhere between 3 and 6, around that age.
Okay. Those weren't the friendly alligators, were they? What I called the friendly alligators?
No. But he's showing me you're pointing at something. You're looking at something. But I feel like you were young.
Yeah. Okay. did the U.S. resolve their differences with this group in 1952 after their skirmish by some agreement, or did they just decide to not?
So the question is, did they resolve their differences?
Yes.
He says, for the most part, yes, but tension always arises when you're dealing with someone you don't know.
Okay. Did they recover any of their spacecraft? Did the U.S. recover any of the alien spacecraft that were downed?
I'm seeing something on the ground, like a crash. But that's kind of where it freezes. I just look at it. It's there. It's crashed. It's in the ground. Part of it is in the ground. But then I get a freeze frame. That's all I get.
So, can you ask him why there's a freeze frame? Is there is there such a thing as galactic top secret?
Excuse me. He says there are many secrets which you would not wish to know, for the information of such would make one very nervous.
Okay.
And he is defining this as top secrets. And he again says the word military. So maybe that's between the military.
Yes, yeah. I found that sometimes when I'm trying to find my lab's things and military things and crashed ships. I get like a doorway that says top secret, and I can't go any further. Okay, so then the next question I have is, this goes to the Korean War. There is a rumor that MacArthur wanted to attack Korea with a nuclear bomb, and when the bomb was loaded on a plane, the plane was influenced to crash on takeoff before it got to Korea. Is there anything to this rumor?
He's saying to me, and he's showing me that it was actually shot down.
Okay. Was it shot down by aliens or shot down by humans?
I keep getting the word marine. I don't know why. Marine.
The Marines?
It could be, but it's unclear. I'm not. I feel like he showed me a big ship, and for whatever reason, he's pointing at it, and he's pointing at the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was shot down from a Navy ship.
Was I, in my past incarnation, was I present during this time in some way?
He said you were very little, but you have heard about it lots.
Okay.
Elizabeth, do you have a dog?
Yes.
Okay, because he's saying me the dog you have right now is the same dog that you had at that lifetime.
That actually doesn't jibe completely, because, but it would jibe with me being little in this lifetime and hearing about it a lot, and that so it may be somehow I got this information in this lifetime.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. So I'm just going to leave that, see if it makes any sense later.
Okay. Let's see.
Flatwoods.
What else? Oh, Flatwoods. Well, Flatwoods was the crash UFO that the military, they had people see military go to where there was a crash.
Okay.
And then top secret. So I think we're done with my questions up to the 1950s. I can't think of anything later in the 50s.
Okay. I'm going to bounce into back a bit into the 1940s. On our previous episode, Rob through Joanna mentioned that the Vril Institute with my goddess girlfriend Maria, they never did get their flying disc to fly. The U.S. came in, had the plans for it, tore them all up, off they went, scrapped the thing. They didn't go down and build a big base in Antarctica, where they're still active today. And Maria ended up, who was the psychic and the channeler for the information back in the 30s under the Nazi regime. She was brought to the U.S. and she was a spy in the Cold War. And she was caught, tortured, murdered, and disposed of in a river in Yugoslavia. And she's never been found. And which is sad because she's stunningly beautiful. Or she
Maybe
was.
that's why she came to you that one time.
Yeah, that's interesting. We did then go get follow-up. And one of the questions I had in regards to that, I said, it was one of the questions from the group, or even Elizabeth might have asked, did Hitler die in the bunker in what was in Berlin as the Russians were moving in? What does Rob say about that?
When I asked him if he died in a bunker in Germany, he said no. And then he says to me, escaped. Mm-hmm. And then I hear the word South America.
Right. Yeah. Now, and that's what we got the first time, a couple of months ago when we had this. That is 80 years ago-ish, or 70 years ago. Could Rob tell me what country Hitler eventually died in?
I keep hearing Argentina.
Argentina. And could you tell me what city or town or village he died in?
What I'm seeing is a small town. I'm not seeing a name, but I see the letter N as in Nancy in it. And whether it's the first letter or a name or a letter in it, and I feel like it's maybe 5 or 6 letters long. It's not a long name. It's a shorter name.
Okay. Could you tell me what name... Sorry, I've moved away from the microphone to write stuff down. Could you tell me, or Rob, with all due respect, could you tell me what the name Adolf Hitler went by when he was in Argentina?
The very first name that came to me was Joseph.
Joseph?
And then I see a letter L as in Linda, and I don't know if that's last name or Joe Joseph L something.
Okay. And his companion, Eva Braun, did she make it out of Germany too?
No, they're showing me that she didn't make it and she was brutally murdered.
Oh.
Okay. The FBI, if you go to the FBI public site in the United States, you can actually go down to an investigation that the FBI launched on Hitler. Those documents are now no longer restricted. They've gone past the 50-year mark, and they were looking for him in Argentina. There is a photograph floating around of a picture of Hitler with a little bit of weight on him. He looks like he's in his 60s, maybe mid-60s. Is that really a photograph of Adolf Hitler?
It's funny you asked that question because before I called the show, he said he's going to ask you about Hitler. And then for some reason, I looked it up, and then was a picture of him with some lady with darker skin that, I don't know if it was him because the picture is pretty fuzzy. So let me ask the question. Was Hitler alive during that time? Yes. Was that his picture? No.
Okay. Now, it's very, very similar to him, even down like the nose size and everything. But who knows? Well, Rob does. That's it.
Here's a question.
Oh, hold on. Please,
okay.
Just stand by. Is Hitler in a marked grave?
There is writing on it, but it does not say Hitler. I don't feel.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, and I feel like it's covered with a lot of dust, so it's obviously old, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know why I keep seeing the name Joseph. I don't know why.
Well, he wouldn't have been going by
his name.
Sugar
right.
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But Eva Braun didn't make it over. Did he have any children?
Well, when I connect with his energy, I feel he doesn't have any. But then I hear the word bastard.
Yeah.
So he may have had children, but had either not knowledge or no connection to it. Or entitlement to it, or however you want to call it.
All right. Will
Joanne?
Mm-hmm.
Will someone find his grave and identify him?
He says not in our lifetime.
Okay, good enough. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Well, this was a follow-up to the end because I'm looking at a map. Did you say before that you saw him near the sea, near the ocean?
Did I say that? I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember. Do you remember?
No. I don't see that.
Does the town Necochea ring any bells?
Not to me.
To Rob?
Oh, to Rob, okay. Can you say it again, please, the name?
Necochea?
Is it south of Mexico?
It's in Argentina. It's an end town.
Argentina. Okay. Argentina and Mexico are not close, are they? I'm terrible with geography, so please forgive me.
No,
okay.
It's south of Mexico.
Okay. It's what?
It's way south.
Way south.
Of Mexico.
That's what he said, south of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen to him.
No, that's what I'm saying. He said south of Mexico, and you're saying yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
In your geography, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Was there a follow-up question on that?
The town. You said an end town, and I'm looking at the name.
Oh, are you asking if that is the town? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking if it's the town where Hitler died. He said no, but it is close to it.
Okay.
Interesting. Very interesting. And I'm glad he didn't have any kids.
That he knows of.
And that's good that they don't know. Which
is a blessing.
It is a blessing. Little schickelgrubers marching around. I don't know why, but I'm now president of the United States. Anyway. I'm going through here, my stuff. Alrighty. What's the place under the water called? Help me out. Starts with an A.
I just want to check.
Okay,
Joanna,
go ahead, Elizabeth.
Do you want to take a break? Do you want to take a break to rest your voice then?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, you guys take a break. We're going to do a 7-minute stretch here. Then we're going to come back in the last hour with more from our wonderful friend, Joanna the Medium, and our new friend Rob, and Elizabeth, because she's kind of cool too. So we'll be back after this 7-minute stretch. Go grab yourself a cup of tea.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, News Director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where two members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month, where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for, so join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Reveal Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrr.wix.com/Rivulet R&R, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or readings, no matter where you are. It's time for you to make time for you.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
Tonight's edition of Spaced Out Weekend is brought to you by spacedoutradio.com, where you can now sign up to become a Space Traveler member. Now, for the final time tonight, here's Spaced Out Weekend's James Tyson.
Thank you, Dave Scott. And remember, SOR Space Travelers Club is $5 a month via PayPal, and with that, you get your names entered in these wonderful monthly prize draws, access to private group interviews, access to special section in our website, and much more. And like I say, it's cheaper than what, Elizabeth? A half-cap foamed Ariana Grande with cinnamon. And while at spacedoutradio.com, you can read our latest blogs. Check out Eric Markham's SOR Spacewire for your latest weird news. Not that this show's not weird. We also have that new feature, the SOR Sightlines, is there for you if you've had an experience and want it investigated by our researcher Mike Schmidt, which is one of my next questions. Just fill out a Sightlines form and we'll get back to you ASAP. And all information is held 100% guaranteed confidential. Hey, our friend Mike Schmidt, which is really hard to say because I'm so used to saying Schmidt, and it's Smith with a sh at the front of it. But Mike and Dave, they go out and they go Bigfooting, which sounds kind of odd. But they got an imprint of a foot, which they believe up and down was a Bigfoot. Could you ask Rob if they were correct in assuming that was a Bigfoot? And if that was a Bigfoot, well, actually, we'll find out first, and then I'll do the follow-up.
Okay, so the question is, was it a Bigfoot?
Yeah, what the casting they have of a giant foot, is it from what we would call the Bigfoot or what is called an Ekko?
Ekko. He says, yes, you're correct.
Oh, it was. Excellent. Will, is that Ekko still around the area?
No, it has since fled, but he said to you, there are no paws this big that a bear would have.
No, there wouldn't be. And it's, I was just curious because, they're going to go up there looking for it again, and hopefully they find another trace of a Bigfoot. Could Rob tell me if they're going to be successful doing that?
It's funny how he answers. He says they're going to keep trying. Whether they will be successful in finding one or not, that is to be determined.
Ah, well, that makes sense. Yeah,
it's the way he says it to me. It's almost like the hunt for it is what gets them going. That's what gets them going. The hunt for it. I don't know how to explain it.
The adrenaline on the hunt.
Yes.
The searching. It's the game. It's the hunting. It's going back. We want to do it. It's like me when I go fly fishing. Half the time I don't really care if I catch anything. It's just the whole rhythm and the relaxation. It's every so often the fish will bother you and you'll catch it and you go, oh, really? Oh, okay. Let it go.
Hey, James?
Yes.
I have a question for you. Have you written down the answers tonight?
Nope.
Not that
I'm going to have to go back over top of these things.
Oh, my goodness. Because I was thinking we might recap what some of the answers were for anybody who came in late. But never mind. Carry on.
And I know that I'm guessing in some of the chat rooms, I'm in the Twitter chat room right now, and I'm sure somebody's going to be asking questions, even though at the beginning we said don't. So until we've gone through all ours. So we went through the Adolf Hitler. We're still kind of bouncing around on that. Died in a small town in Argentina. And was it a suicide, or did he die of old age?
I hear natural causes.
Okay. Natural caused by...
I also see, he said to me he had 3 children.
Oh. Okay. Could 2 of them be twins?
Well, we're assuming, because that's what James was he was looking. That's quite possible. Remember when he said somebody had children and the lady was one of them? There were more than one?
One of the mistresses?
Bastards? Yeah.
I have a question about Maria. Did she, now, you said she didn't escape, but did she actually get to Argentina and get killed there soon after the war? Yeah.
Maria von, whatever the name is?
Brown.
Oh, no, it's Eva. Eva von Braun.
Eva, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says to me that she didn't have a chance to escape. She was captured as she was trying to leave.
Did the people who capture her know who she was?
Yes.
Oh, those damn Russians are keeping secrets on us.
Actually, it's funny you said Russians because I felt it was actually Russians.
Yeah, they were the ones that were in that part of Berlin.
Yeah, and I feel that she was raped and brutally murdered, or brutally raped and murdered.
Yep, that would be the Russians. Now there is a anomaly at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, and it's a round anomaly, and it's always been a bit of a question on what this anomaly it is. Could Rob tell me what that is, and whether or not it is something from Earth or something from somewhere else?
So he's calling it a sphere.
Yep.
Is it like a sphere? Okay.
Yes.
He says it's a calcified object that has fallen, quote unquote, from the sky.
Okay. So was it an object that was
human-made?
Yeah, no, not human-made, but made by a race of beings. Oh, hell. Hey, Rob, was that a UFO that crashed?
Hang on. I have to laugh. This was an object that has fallen from an aircraft that was not of the humankind.
Okay, that's what
that is his answer.
Double checking. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Now,
is it a sphere? What is it?
It's a sphere. It looks like a disc. Looks like a disc, and it's at the bottom of the Baltic.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's and that's one of Joe's questions again. He comes up with the good ones. I tell you, when we put out for questions after our show for questions, remember telling you don't ask questions on this show? We had an entire 2 hours of questions on that show to get, and you all jumped in. And Joe Joe did. I think Joe's the only one who actually listened and sent me questions for weeks after via Facebook. So thank you, Joe, for doing that. I really appreciate that because it kind of holds us accountable on the stuff that we
Joe.
didn't write down because the information was just coming full bore. Atlantis, Rob. Did Atlantis exist?
Was Atlantis part of the human evolution, you're asking?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
How should I do that?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where is it?
He says deep underwater, or what you would call below the sea level, or the level of the sea.
Okay. Is he familiar with how to use a GPS machine? What is the GPS location for that? If he can do that, we'll go back to Hitler's grave.
Well, let's do this. Let's do the cutting things in half. Is it on the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere?
Okay, so I'm looking at the globe straight, and he is pushing me towards east.
Okay, when you're looking at it straight, what continent are you looking at?
Okay, good question. Jesus, here's my geography lesson. Okay, I need
is
to
it
help with
like
that.
North America and South America with a Mexico in the middle, or are you in Africa?
Yeah,
I am Canada, US. I'm looking straight at Canada and US.
Okay.
And it's
so
he's taking me to the right.
Okay.
Is it in the Atlantic? Is it off the Atlantic coast of the US?
He said it's closer to Pacific Ocean.
So is it in the
Odds bodkins. Are you looking at the globe upside down?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it on the other side of Asia? To the east?
He says it's the opposite side of what you're looking at right now.
Okay. So if we took a string and where in the US would we put a dot and then bisect the Earth? So
he's actually pointing me towards a border of, what is it? I want to say BC, Manitoba. Is that how it goes? No. Is that how it goes? BC,
No.
Calgary, that's how it goes? Yeah.
No. Hold on. It goes British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba.
Okay. So you see that line, and then I'm being taken slightly down, but then I hear the word Nevada. So somewhere there.
Atlantis is in Nevada.
No. No, that's where the pointer is from where you start the string that she was talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
And does the string do the inverse GPS from that point to the southern hemisphere? Or does it just go straight across the Earth?
He says slightly to the left.
Okay. So that's the inverse. You
Okay,
would end
thank
up at the left if you, and the left and what you would say down to the south, it will end up in the south of where it is on the northern hemisphere. Is that correct?
You're pretty close, he says.
Okay, we can figure that out.
Okay, where have you got it? Elizabeth, you lost me.
So if you cut the Earth in half, if you figure out that point, I mean, we didn't figure it out completely, but you make a triangle from BC or Manitoba and Nevada. You make a triangulation because we don't know how big Atlantis was, but is he basically saying that Atlantis was the size of a triangle with a point at the border of BC and the border of Manitoba and the point of Nevada and a border in Nevada? Then you'd get a triangle, right? If you put a dot in the middle of the triangle, you're going to come up, depending on where, roughly, you're going to take a string, cut the planet in half, and do an inverse coordinate.
Oh, for 5, 6. Just tell me where it is.
Well,
is it off the
that would be
Honduras?
That would be somewhere in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, so he did say Pacific Ocean. Okay,
Yeah.
he did say closer to Pacific.
Yeah, it'd be closer to the Pacific Ocean if you do an inverse across. Anyway, I can explain it later, but it's complicated geography. That I'm a geography major, so
Okay.
Good for you.
Geography major.
We both aren't.
Geography major.
Sure.
I made lot of maps.
Map check. Okay, I want you to know if you were in Alaska and you went straight down past Hawaii and were opposite of the border of Peru and Chile, would that be approximately where it is?
We'd have to it would be further to the west than that.
Further west?
Yeah.
So closer
'cause we're
to
cutting
Asia.
through the earth.
See, I'm not cutting the whole cutting through the earth thing and standing on your head and holding a mirror.
It's math.
No,
Math.
do your
Don't
math.
worry.
Tell me where.
The inverse coordinates. We just
Okay.
do the inverse coordinates. We got to figure out what's in the middle of that triangle first.
Okay.
And I don't have a.
You know what you do? You got to do that. You get 10 minutes. MIT grad. Actually, no, you have 5. MIT grad.
No, I'm not an MIT grad. Stop saying that. I worked at MIT. I did not graduate from MIT.
No, just
Please stop
janitorial. Okay. I gotcha. So you don't know your ass from the hole in the ground. Okay, hold on. Here's
I just work there. I don't know nothing. I just work there.
I just worked there, yeah. I went to MIT, because that's where I parked. And then I worked somewhere else. It's like, here I've been telling people you're brilliant, and you're not.
I am. I'm
are.
brilliant at some things. I can tie my shoes.
So what happened to Atlantis, Rob, who's now just shaking his head going, what am I doing with these humans? Joanna, what have you done to me? What happened?
What have you done to yourself?
What happened to Atlantis?
Okay. So what he's showing me is that there seemed to be some kind of a shake, as in an earthquake, and part of a crust or part of Earth crust has broken off and fallen to the sea or ocean.
All right, that makes sense. Was the civilization that was occupied Atlantis, was it more advanced than the civilizations on the mainland?
Yes.
Okay. Was it?
Oh, sorry. Then ours.
In on the mainland areas, like in North America, Asia, was Atlantis civilization more advanced?
He says that there were what's the word, please? Advanced beings.
Oh, were they? Would we determine they were they non-human?
Aliens per se, it's just highly evolved beings that lived on Earth, and I don't see them as non-humans, but they do have an element to them that is out of the ordinary.
The only thing they didn't have was the ability to forecast earthquakes. Hey, we're really smart. Oh, we're gone.
Did they cause the earthquakes?
No, it was due to atmospheric changes.
Which gets me into my next set of questions with the last half hour. Sorry. But one more question about disappearing islands. Off of the coast of England and just a little bit south of Ireland, there had been reported that there was a island. And this island, and why I'm curious about it, it's common in paranormal discussions, is that sailors could see the island every so often. And
like a ghost island?
It was like a ghost island, but it would be huge. It would be, like the size of Maine or something in the U.S. It was a good chunk. And when you go on Google Earth, where this island allegedly is or was, you can actually see when you do the underground search on Google Earth, you can see what would it be called, an alluvial veil. It appears like some the ledge, the underground ledge outside of the UK and the British Isles, had slid in. I was wondering if that island did exist, and did it actually slide down, and did we lose it?
He said that it was lost civilization.
It was a civilization, then
Yes.
gone. It was supposed to,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a pretty advanced island too, and
Lost,
then gone.
lost civilization. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
He's actually comparing the two, the Atlantis and the ones you were just talking about.
Mhm.
There seems to be some similarity to them, and it has to do with the advancement around being able to grow and produce at will.
kind of like we do now.
And I'm talking more about like crops, like growing, just something about having an advanced technology, but it seems to be pure. It's not like bastardized. Being able to, I don't know, put some components together. I can't quite say it properly. Because he's showing me being able to grow seemingly out of nothing. Then something advanced about that.
Okay, so here's a question for you, just to place it on a timeline. So our modern agriculture, our ability to be able to grow at will from seeds, is about 10,000, roughly, years old. Is this older than that?
Yeah, I feel like I want to go back.
Okay.
Go back before that, yes. He says this is an advanced civilization we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says that what we human know as far as technology, even though it has grown exponentially over the last 10, 20, 15, 20 years, it is only a tip of the iceberg of what is actually possible. And there will be a lot more technological advancements in the next 20 to 30 years.
That's where I'm going to be going with this.
He must read your mind.
Well, no, he knows where I'm going because we've talked about this.
Okay.
Well, he and I shouldn't say I talked to him. I just put some thoughts out there to see where it would go. One of the things that we talk about the other Sundays of the month is the shift. And we're entering into the shift in 2017. All right, what happened? You guys just shifted. It kind of connects to one of the questions here, again, from Joe. And it's in regards to Planet X. Was these events that caused great Earth shifts, let's call it, or tectonic plate relaxations, which cause tsunamis and areas on Earth to drop, was it caused by what we call Planet X? Is it about that? Was it because that came into our solar system and kind of threw everything for a bit of a poop, let's say, and the magnetic field shifted?
He's saying that the results of which you speak had a lot to do with atmospheric changes.
And he had told us earlier that these events were caused by atmospheric changes.
Oh, okay. Do you want a different answer then?
No,
So he's saying the same thing.
Yeah. So
expand, please.
Perfect.
Yeah. Elizabeth is asking Rob to expand. If he can.
Which means my question is: were the changes caused by a meteor coming close by, a comet, something else coming close by the planet, and affecting the atmosphere
and
the gravitation?
Okay, mine was just Planet X.
What is Planet X? Because I don't understand. What is Planet X?
Nibiru.
Nibiru. But could it be a meteor, another heavenly body coming close enough to Earth to affect the atmosphere?
Yeah, we'll get to that one almost.
I
know, but I want to.
Okay, which question should I go with?
No, I want to go. I'm trying to my question is based on Planet X or this Nibiru, if it's actually a real planet, if it's caused... This is where I'm going, Elizabeth.
Okay, fine.
Okay? And
Okay, fine.
Don't make me pull this car over.
No, I'm back.
Okay, so Rob, however you want to say it, Nibiru, was that planet the cause or part of the cause for places like Atlantis and the Ghost Island south of Ireland to disappear? Is that what caused the atmospheric anomalies?
The only thing I keep hearing is heat exhaustion, but I'm getting stuck on that. I can't expand anymore on that.
Exhaustion. Okay. Will, did that Planet X or Nibiru come through our solar system? And if so, how long ago was its last pass?
Not very clear, but what I'm sensing is long time ago, and I'm seeing the number, if they're 15,000 or 1,500. I want to go with 15,000.
Yeah, 15,000.
Yeah, 15,000. Yeah.
Okay.
His other answer, I can make sense out of that, of the heat exhaustion.
Okay.
There have been multiple ice ages on this planet for a long time. And when there is an ice age, the Earth deforms under the ice. And so you have a tremendous changing of continents and land masses and waterways and different pressures from the ice moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going in the right direction with this? Can you ask?
He's saying to me something to the effect that the ice age causes an atmospheric shift, but the way he's showing it to me, it happens underwater, so it happens on the sea level.
Right.
And then somehow it has an effect above sea level.
What happens is the oceans warm up and the currents stop flowing because all the water warms up to a temperature where we no longer have the currents moving water around the Earth. So cold stays at the top and warm stays in the middle, and we don't have mixing. And when you don't have mixing, you end up having an ice age because
Interesting.
It gets colder and colder, and it finally moves down toward the equator.
Interesting. Wow.
Cool.
Well, I'm glad you know this.
Hey, ask him if heat exhaustion would be kind of the same thing that we would call global warming now.
Yes, because he kept saying that to me over and over again. I didn't say it because I was waiting for the next question. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so global warming.
Yep.
Now,
he does tell me that the global warming is a natural process, that it's a cyclical process.
No.
Right.
So although there is some human interaction with this process, it is not entirely done by humans.
No. So the Chinese, they invented it. Could you? It was 15,000 years ago that this Planet X or Nibiru, we're going to call it Bob, came by. When is it coming again?
He said it won't matter to us because it's going to be thousands of years from now.
Okay, that's very interesting. And I'm really glad he put that forward because we got it from another being that it would be like 50, 60 years.
No, that's not what I got.
Good. Hopefully he's not doing Elizabeth math to very slow and figure this out. What does Rob... Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Mom, he's teasing me. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. What? Good Lord, woman. What is the end of 2017 into 2018 going to be like, Rob? For us people and our banking systems.
Before you even finish that question, he says, so now we're getting put into politics, are we?
No, not into politics at all. Won't have anything to do with the government. It's just the banking
Practical
systems.
banking matters.
These are
do we take
practical
our
accounting.
money out? Yes. Do we put it under our pillow?
Okay, let me just ask. Let me just form my thoughts here. He says to me, be careful what you ask for. It may not be an answer you want to hear.
We don't care.
Rob, it's Rob. Come
on.
Skeeter Wellhouse comes on, and this is what we talk about. We talk about the answers we may not want to hear because we believe that it's actually part of why some people are awakening to their more spiritual side, and also the reason that individuals like you, Rob, are now stepping in and communicating through those people that we call psychics, that we are getting prepared for something. And one of the reasons I have this platform is to get that message out to as many people as possible, and so they understand why it is they're awakening and what they're going to be doing with that. So
what he said to me earlier, he's asking me to I actually wrote something down a moment ago, and he says that we are currently undergoing what he terms a global awakening of consciousness. Now, in simpler terms, or in English, what he's saying to me is that people are starting to wake up, which translates into people starting to have different ideas about the things they have always done. Some of the ideas will be contradictory to what they have always been told they should do, and some of the ideas will be really good ones. I guess they both will be good ones. Let me just see where he wants to go with this. The purpose of this process is to help the humankind understand that chaos only breeds more chaos, and therefore peace is what has to transpire. At this particular stage, we are, or you are, in a place of your evolution where a lot of chaos has to take place in order for peace to lift its head up from the rubble.
Okay. My understanding, we're coming into what would be deemed a depression in the economy. I'm not getting political, but it will be a depression at the level, if not worse, than it was in 1927. Does he also see that?
He says it will feel like things are sinking and that like you have no control.
Mm-hmm. How long?
He's not calling it depression.
Yeah. But it will affect investment, what we do with our money, and affect us on that level as opposed to a food level. Yeah.
He said it will affect production.
Production, yeah. Got it. That makes sense. How long will that last?
Approximately 4 to 5 years.
Beginning when? Again, may I ask?
Okay, let me see. Ouch. Ouch. He just gave me a shot on the neck. Ugh.
He's giving me a kick because I shouldn't have asked.
Did he?
Sorry.
Is he?
Well, because he said, we get...
Did he give you a kick, though? Did he give you a kick?
No, I know that
me. Yeah.
He gave you a kick for me.
Let me just see what I can... He says, Joanna, those are the things we chose not to discuss, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to stick with politics. Drat.
He'll give you a little taste, but yeah.
Okay.
The time.
Yeah, the starting time is...
What he's saying here is, just look at your world now and you will have your answer.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
There was also a... we wanted to discuss what is sometimes called in countries a civil war, where there's a bit of an issue between one side and the other.
It's called uproar.
Uproar? Yeah, but this one will be more... It's kind of like the old American Civil War, but different, because there'll be other countries involved in it, like rooting for one side while the other countries are rooting for the other side. Is that does that occur after this this other 3 to 4 to 5 year non-depression?
Mark, yeah, let me just see how he wants to answer this. He's showing me with his gesture that everything is going to take place for the purpose of equalizing power. And he's showing me this globally, not only country-wise. And he calls it a unification.
It's not like, you remember, like you're that old, the end of the Roman Empire. It was just...
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember for sure.
Yeah, it was Wednesday. It was just basically like a switch came on, it was gone. And a few other empires, it's not a... We're not getting into the empire building phases we did, like the British Empire expanding and whatever empire expanding, and then it all being shut down. So it's not an end... It will be an end of one empire, because then everything, we will all kind of get together globally, correct? Rob?
I'm asking him. This is all about equalization of power. So it feels to me like the way he's showing it to me, people, countries coming together for common purpose and common goal, as opposed to one against another. So unification versus being exclusivity.
Perfect. So would that be every country on this planet? Or will it be...
Eventually, most of them, yes. But I don't feel it's going to be in our lifetime. And if it is, we're going to be quite damn old.
Okay.
We will see the beginnings of it, but we will not see the actual essence of what it is.
So the experiment in being a country of individuals with locked borders, that would probably, once that social experiment is done, then we'll awaken to becoming more globally connected.
He says, when you call it experiment, you are insinuating you are being experimented on. This is your doing.
Okay. So...
Also signifying that we have power in this as opposed to feeling powerless.
Oh. Very well, Chief. Very well. All right. That sounds interesting. So at least we're going to come out of it with, both our shoes polished and... Our jeans might be a little tarnished, but we'll be okay. Looking ahead in Rob's book of Looking Ahead, we have an ice age coming?
Not this year.
Okay. Have you looked out the window? For God's sakes. No, it's... I'm just wondering, because of, we always talk about global warming and the rising of the sea level and things like that. It's going to be a bit of an issue. Are we going to be seeing this as the beginning of...
He's actually showing me that the water levels will first fall before they rise.
Like a tsunami.
Oh, God, don't say that. He didn't show me that.
Well, before an ice age, they do fall because the water ends up getting rebound up in the northern... at the poles, so they do fall as the ice age begins.
Well, I'm hope that I have wings and I'm not here anymore.
Yeah.
and I'm having Rob's job.
I got Rob's job, yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob's going, oh, great. Now where do I go?
Yeah.
More of you people coming up with wings are screwing me around. Do you... a couple of the questions that popped up here really quick here are, there has been talk about, and we went over this the first time, has been talk about these bases on Mars where Americans go up there. In fact, Dave has had them on as guests where they've say they've worked up on Mars for X amount of years. Do they really exist?
He says there's 3 of them.
Really? On Mars?
Not the moon.
He shows me 3.
Okay.
No, he shows me 3.
Because when we talked to him about that before, there was none on Mars, but they were on the moon.
Okay, let me go back. He says, yes, there are 3 stations which are not of humankind.
On
Mars.
Mars. Do humans actually work on them?
He's not showing me one way or the other.
Oh. And are there bases on the moon?
Again, he says yes. But I feel like I'm starting to lose him.
Has any human been on a base on the moon?
He says to me many have been, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes sense to me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
You know, I'm thinking all these people that say they've been up on Mars working, they're probably on the moon. It's closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the people who work with the Zetas, we end up going to the moon. And some of us remember it, some of us don't.
It's just all cheese anyway.
Yeah, it's yum.
Exactly.
Are there any bases on Earth that would be mixed with human workers and what we call our alien or space brother workers?
He doesn't answer me, but what he shows me is an image of 2 parties discussing something. So it's a feeling of something being in discussion or collaboration.
So they're working on it.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Do we have any underground bases?
In the crust of the Earth, you mean?
Yeah, like below. Is there bases underneath, deep in the Earth?
I'm not getting anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she's getting tired out, and besides, we have to tell people how to contact her because she's an awesome medium.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think he's
in a couple of
pulling me
minutes.
out.
Yeah, and shoot, because I got the reptilian question. Shoot.
Well, try me and see what happens.
Okay. There's the reptilians. People have been saying since the last time he was on. I know he doesn't like us calling them reptilians, and I don't know what else to say because they are described as a number of things. He first said they didn't look like quote unquote reptiles, like lizards, but there were, in fact, people who have seen these lizard beings with, like Galen Chauncey has seen one with a tool belt, a little 4-foot, literally the little gecko looking thing.
Like a gecko?
Yeah.
Gecko, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are those other beings that look like lizards if they're not reptilians? And what should we be looking for if we want to say hi to a reptilian?
first of all, he said, never look for one because you'll never find one.
Excellent. So they're not going to be elusive-like.
So that's number one. But I want to ask about this gecko person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is really strange for me. He is showing me that it's another form of being that is disguised as whatever it's trying to project.
Oh, so maybe it's trying to project something a little bit more different or frightening, or
than what it is,
or who knows what it needs to. I need to project something with 20 arms because I need to climb a wall. Interesting.
I have a question. About that. Is it actually a little blue guy?
I hear silvery.
Yep. Okay.
Silvery.
Cool.
Yeah.
And one more thing, because I got an email from a fellow who wanted me to ask, does Rob know what the name is for the alien race that I'm from?
You or the person?
No, me.
You. I'm only getting a word constitution, but I know it's not, I don't feel that's what it is. I'm not getting it.
Okay. I had to ask. I'm supposed to be some gangly blue one too. But then again, he said I had reptilian stuff in me too.
DNA.
Yeah. What the heck? Okay, Elizabeth, where do we get a hold of this young lady? We get a hold of Joanna,
Underground.
You get a hold of it. Yeah. It's basically, we can get a hold of you, Joanna, at joannathamedium.com. We can go to your website, and it'll link over to the YouTube channel where you do your readings and your astrology stuff. I want to say
videos.
Your videos.
Yeah.
And they can see you there, or if they want an appointment, they can book it online at joannathamedium.com. And if you want to go talk to Elizabeth, that's... I almost said spirit of whatever it was. It's elizabethengland.com. Look at you guys on all .comming. Elizabeth has gone to sleep, hasn't she? Oh, my Lord.
No, I'm reading the chat things that I didn't read before. So it's very interesting.
Probably a lot of people asking questions. Why haven't you answered my question? I wanted to know where ISIS was hiding in... shush.
Nah.
Join me tomorrow for 2 mediums and a large. Phone and ask Joanna a question. Because she'll be wide awake. And hopefully your throat's better, Joanna. Thanks very much. Thanks, Rob. And
thanks, Rob. Thanks.
Everybody out there, you can tune in here 5 days a week for Dave or 2 days a weekend for me. Keep an open mind.
This is our last goodbye. Young hearts will stop. Torn souls set free. All that we have is now. If this is what you want, then come to me.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. And hey! Let's be careful out there.
Far over the snow, what are those voices? They sing and they go. What are those voices? Look up on the mountain. Because somebody hide, somebody better hide. And through the hail, like a pack of angry wolves on the trail. We are after you, dead or alive. We are out to get you, dead or alive. And forget your soul if you get the man that after now. Run through the hail like a pack of angry wolves on the trail. Dead or alive, we are out to get you dead or alive. If you're the one, better run away. Son, you are done, throw your gun away. Here comes the bounty to get the man they're after. No!
I see dead people.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Dave's not here!
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim.